back to Making Food Monday. This week, I'm gonna make something super fun. We're gonna make meatballs in marinara sauce, and we're gonna do it two ways. Daddy and I are gonna have it over zoodles for spaghetti and meatballs, and the kids are gonna have meatball subs. For today's recipe, we are going to need garlic powder, some dried chopped onions, salt, flour. I've got almond flour because we're trying to keep it low carb. We're gonna need 2 eggs, black pepper, some Asiago or Parmesan cheese. I've got parsley flakes and an onion. I've got some Italian seasoning, 2 cans of diced tomatoes, and a can of tomato paste. And the tomato paste is actually just to thicken that marinara sauce. So if you like a little looser sauce, you actually don't need that. And we're gonna need some ground beef, obviously, to make our meatballs. But that should be all we need for today's recipe, guys. First thing we're gonna do today is dice our onion. Up next, we're gonna add about 2 tablespoons of olive oil to the bottom of our pot. And I just kind of guess about that much. And then we're gonna add all of our diced onion right to the oil. And then I'm gonna add 3 teaspoons of garlic. I happen to like my marinara sauce with lots of garlic, so if you don't, you can actually take that down a bit too. There's 1, there's 2, and there's 3. Then we're gonna come down here to our sear roast function and turn that on. We're gonna let our garlic and onions cook here until they're nice and soft. While I'm waiting for my onion and garlic to soften up, I'm gonna take some of my diced tomatoes and I'm gonna run them through my chopper so that my little people don't have to have super chunky sauce. I personally would rather have the chunky sauce, but I know that my little people would probably be more likely to eat more of the food if I made it the way they like it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and chop those tomatoes into much smaller pieces. So I'm just gonna add the tomatoes and chop. And that's gonna lead to some much happier kids right there. Once my onions and garlic are nice and soft, I can go ahead and add those tomatoes that I've chopped right to the pot. And there's the second can. Hold on to my blade there to reach it. Well, that's not what I meant to do. Guess I'll just dump the blade in there and fish it out. Get out of there, blade. And now we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of Italian seasoning. There's 1, and there's 2. And then I'll go ahead and mix that in. And now, if you like to have a thicker marinara sauce, you're gonna add 1 can or as much of a can as you think you need to thicken your sauce. So I'm gonna add the whole can. I like to cut the top and the bottom off of a tomato paste can and just push the whole thing right on out. And then of course, retrieve that little. And then we're gonna break that guy up and stir him in completely. And now it's time to build our meatballs. So the first thing we're gonna do is put all of our meat into a mixing bowl. We're gonna add 1 tablespoon of parsley flakes. 1 tablespoon of parsley flakes. 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning. 1 teaspoon. 1 teaspoon of chopped onion. 1 teaspoon. And 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. Then I'm gonna add 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. 1/4 teaspoon. And 1 teaspoon of salt. 1 teaspoon of salt. Now I'm gonna add 1/2 cup of almond flour. 1/2 cup of flour. And 1 cup of Asiago cheese. 1 cup of Asiago cheese. Or Parmesan if that's what you have on hand. And the last thing we need to add is 2 eggs. And now it's time to get messy. Once we have all of our ingredients, we're gonna take our mixture and make meatballs, of course, little balls made of meat. And then once you get one formed, we're gonna drop it straight into the pot, and it's gonna cook just like that. So I've loaded my pot with a lot of meatballs, but I'm afraid to push them down into the sauce a little more because I don't want to smash them. So I think I'm going to take the risk that some of them are going to stick together, and we're just going to cross our fingers on that. But guys, I have a lot more meatballs than that. I think the problem is I was supposed to make bigger meatballs, and I made little ones so that it would be better for the kids and better to go on the subs. So I'm just gonna have to cook some of my meatballs in my air fryer or in my oven, and the rest of them I'm gonna put in the marinara sauce. So it's time to seal up our pot. Now we're gonna drop down here to our chicken function because that's where my high pressure is. We're gonna take that time cook down to 10 minutes. Okay guys, I've got the rest of my meatballs loaded up in my air fryer. I'm gonna turn those on to 400, and I'm gonna give them 10 minutes. And start. So the last time that I made zoodles with a recipe, somebody asked me, how did you make those? So I'm gonna show you guys. This is the contraption that I have that makes my zoodles. It goes through this, and it cuts it as it's spinning around, and it makes it into little spirally noodles. So I just clamp that on there, and then rotate and push at the same time. See? Comes out. Zoodles. Then I just add a sprinkle of seasoned salt. Then I cover it with plastic wrap. And then I microwave it for 1 minute. Okay guys, our timer has expired. It's time to let our pressure out. There we go. And now we can open it up. Now we can give them a stir. Beautiful meatballs. I was worried they would stick together, but I only see a couple that have stuck and they just come right apart. So it worked out just perfectly. I maybe could have even put all of those meatballs in here and it just been fine. Either way, it's done now. And my air fryer meatballs turned off just a minute ago, so they're already nice and cooled off and ready to go. And there we have it, guys. Low carb meatballs with marinara sauce served over zoodles and as a meatball sub. Hey Jaxie, I've got it made and it's plated. Now all we need are our
guinea pigs.
Do it.
Guinea pigs! I'm hungry! 1, 2!
We got loud pigs today. And the daddy pig, who thinks it smells awesome.
Can I
Me.
eat first?
Who wishes theirs was a sub instead of a zucchini plate.
I didn't even have lunch today, so I'm starving.
Oh, so are you ready to eat this or what? Who should go first? Let me see. All right, Mia, you win. So you're gonna put that bread on top and hold it like a sandwich and take a bite out of it.
The meatballs running back.
That's good. I didn't get a meatball.
All right, try the meatball.
The sandwich is really good.
Yeah?
Really good.
Thanks, man. How many thumbs are you gonna give that? Yeah? Thanks. All right, Jaxie, your turn.
Now I get to eat this with cheese.
It's a meatball right there.
What do you think of that?
The sauce I don't like.
You don't like it?
I don't like the sauce.
What do you think of the meatball?
It's good.
Yeah? Well, you know what the good news is?
What?
I didn't put very much sauce on it because it's a sandwich. So you don't have to eat a big plate of sauce. You just have to eat your bread with your meatballs. So, how many thumbs are you gonna give that?
1,000.
Yeah.
More than everyone.
Thanks, dude. Jordan's up.
This looks
Let's see
really
if Jordan can eat one of these without needing a bath. I think they should call these sloppy joes. Like maybe this is a, what's an Italian guy's name that sounds like Joe?
Sloppy Giuseppe. Giuseppe.
It's a sloppy Giuseppe.
That's really good.
You like that?
Really.
So your favorite thing to order at Subway is the meatball sub. How does this compare?
Actually, this is as good, if not better.
Nice. Sweet. How many thumbs are you gonna give it?
It's really good.
Thanks, man.
Alright, I'm gonna eat my subs and...
Aww, you have to eat your zoodles and meatballs.
It's okay, but it's pretty good. So, look-wise, it looks delicious. Smells really good.
I thought you were supposed to go.
No. Not with sauce all over your food. Get whipped by the noodle. It's been a long time since I had meatballs. These are really good meatballs. That sauce is so good. That sauce it's really good. Perfect with zoodles. It's perfect for like spaghetti and noodle night. The meatballs are a little dry if you're eating them by themselves, but with the sauce and everything, it just balances it out. Great flavor. Good texture. They're really good. I mean, this is good. It's been a long time, and I'm glad you made this meatballs today because they definitely hit the spot. They're pretty good.
Okay guys, my final thoughts. I think this recipe turned out really good. I do have a couple of pointers for it though. If I was gonna make these meatballs again, I think I would add about half Italian sausage and half hamburger because that's gonna add a little bit more fat to these meatballs and make them less dry. They weren't dry, but I just think they needed a little bit more fat to fill them in. I do think, however, if you didn't want to add sausage because maybe you don't like sausage, you could just use a fattier hamburger and that would work out just as well. The sauce is really good. It worked out really well, and I do think that I could have put all of those meatballs in at the same time because once I got my pot to seal, everything cooked just like it was supposed to and they didn't stick together at all. So I think this one's really good. I'm gonna give it 1 thumb up, but that's only because I'm not a big fan of spaghetti and meatballs. This recipe was really tasty. Who thought the meatballs marinara was yummy? I have to say that with zoodles, it was quite tasty. I'm not a huge fan of spaghetti and meatballs, but it was good spaghetti and meatballs.
I know, I'm not a huge fan of spaghetti and meatballs either, but that was really good.
It was pretty tasty, right? Guys, I need to put my Smartypants to bed. So,
If you like this video, give it a thumbs up for to make this channel strong. Share it with your friends. Now, good night, YouTube. See you tomato. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe now.